All right, welcome back to another episode of called The Homeschool. So it's summertime. Hope your summer is going well because summer is my favorite. Last summer, I held a lot of bonus classes and Mama's members to really help you create your school year. And backed by popular demand will be these amazing classes. And just be diving into them. So, whether or not you are new to Mama's members or even if you did them last year, there's always something you can learn and just continuing to always make your school a little bit better each year. So, they are going to be in addition to all the already amazing things that you can get in Mama's members. So this is the perfect time to come and hop into Mama's members if you've been on the fence. You're going to get all the amazing stuff that's already in there, all the videos where I teach you how to connect with your babies, how to build an amazing family, and all things homeschooling. You get weekly coaching calls, all the questions for me, and you're beginning these bonus calls to create your school year. And you'll get access to my online event of my homeschool conference in June. So you are not going to want to miss this. So click in the show notes and join today. Friends, Mama's Members is only $35 a month. I can't even take my family out to eat for that. It is the best price and the best money you're ever going to spend to create something completely different in your family and in your homeschool. And so it is money well spent. So I'd love to have you come and join the fun. All right, let's talk about personalities. Who here likes to study personalities? I did not grow up studying personalities, and I did not know it was a thing and that people did this until I married into the Thomas family, who were really big into the Myers-Briggs personality quiz. And the Myers-Briggs personality is the personality test that you end up with letters like E or I, N or S. What's the next one? F or J or T and P. I think I mixed some of those up. I did mix some of those up. But basically, it boils down to four main groups like NF, NT, SJ, SP. And NF is intuitive, and NT is more logical. I'm probably butchering that. But basically, they were really into this test and they had me take the test. They told me what different people were in the family, just understanding like, well, they're doing that because they're an SJ. Oh, they're an SP, so that's why they're doing this, right? Totally, that's what I like got introduced to all the personality traits through that book. And yeah, so I studied the book and started studying personalities. Then when I joined my co-op that I was part of for a long time, a lot of people were really into the Carol Tuttle. It's just my nature. And hers are boiled down to four things as well. And they're just numbers 1, 2, 3, or 4. And understanding the different personalities and the things that come with those. So I think understanding different personalities can be super helpful. It's so interesting. I think when you understand personalities too, you start understanding why somebody else is doing something. So my husband does not like to say no. It is really hard for him to say no. And so he will often say yes, even when he knows he really shouldn't say yes. And then he feels bad when he doesn't show up or can't follow through with something he says yes. And he'll still say yes, even though he doesn't really have time or really the bandwidth to do it. So the longer we get married, the more and more I have learned to not really ask for his help in something or ask him to do something because he's always going to try to find a way to do it, even at the expense of his own bandwidth, his own health, all those types of things. So I've learned to, if I'm going to ask him something, I need to mean it because he is going to find a way to do that. So it's helped me to be more understanding. Also, if he said yes and then didn't follow through, like, why did you say yes then? He's like, because I hate saying no, right? So just being more understanding to him. As I've studied personalities and my darling children, all 7 of them, and their very different personalities, I've learned that some of my kids are very internally motivated and they don't need a lot of help from me to follow their dreams and passions. All I really have to do is get out of their way, and if they ask for help, I provide it. Then I have some darlings who are very externally motivated, and they will work better if they have a deadline or another external motivation, like, hey, you can have your phone when this is done, or if this doesn't get done, you don't have your phone. And those are things that are really motivating to them. So all of these personality tests are so great in understanding other people, people in your family, people you work with, serve with, all of those things. But what's so awesome, what I want to focus on today, is using personalities to understand yourself. Sometimes we get so caught up in other people and their personality and working with them that we forget to understand our personality and how we work best. As you understand your personality, this helps you to parent and teach in a way that is true to who you are instead of trying to be who somebody else is, but to be true who you are. So recently, I was talking to a client about pets. Now, friends, I think pets are an amazing way to teach your children so many skills. They learn to take care of something. They learn to clean a cage, clean the animal. They learn to feed it. And I even think that having a pet die is a very powerful way to teach my children about death and be able to process very strong feelings. We have had dogs, cats, guinea pigs, bunnies, chickens, and a hamster. Oh, bees too, I guess. We also, let's see, some of these pets have had very untimely deaths. Some of our pets ate the other pets. My husband's dogs have eaten, oh geez, some bunnies and some guinea pigs of ours. We even had, and some of them died. Let's see, one of our dogs died of, we've had 4 dogs died now. So some of them died of old age. One of them died by getting hit by a car. So we've had some sad moments with that. We also have a hamster that has become a free-range hamster because it escaped and we never found it, so we just call it a free-range hamster and we just assume she's living her best life somewhere. I am totally okay with all of this because it works so well with my personality. I guess I should say I'm okay with dogs outside, but I don't let them inside. That works really well with my personality. Now, my client that I was talking to doesn't love pets, especially the kind of pet her kid wants to get. This is where understanding your personality is so important in parenting and in your homeschool. My client had a fear of the kind of pet her son wanted to get. Yes, I can coach you on your fears, right? But sometimes it's not a place where you want to spend a lot of energy to come to peace with it. Sometimes it's just a no. Sometimes we don't want our kids to be annoyed, but guess what? It's totally okay if our kids are annoyed sometimes. That's when you let them know that when they have their own house, they can have all the pets they want, and you can't wait to come and visit them and see them all. So understanding your personality and what you're okay with lets you know what you're okay with in your home and what you're not okay with in your own home. Another area of understanding your personality is with having friends over. Now, I love to party. I love to host the party. I like the party being at my house. I want people at my house. I want to know all my kids' friends. I want to get to know them. That's something that's really important to me, and I love it. I also don't mind creating the food and having music and whatnot for a party. I think it is a lot of fun. But that doesn't mean it's bad if you don't. You may have one day a week that is, this is our friend day, and this is the day that kids can come to our house, that each kid can only have one friend over, and that's fine too. I know in the coaching world is so forward thinking, right? That it's always, how can I improve here? What could I do better here? How could I be this more well-rounded, amazing individual? And sometimes we think that we always have to come to peace with something or agree with something, but that's not always the case. So sometimes there is just a space, allowing a space of being at peace with yourself and your personality and knowing that you don't have to change if it's not really upsetting anything, right? Like whether or not you have a snake in your house doesn't completely change the dynamic of your relationship, and it's not going to ruin things or make things any better, right? And just saying like, I don't want that in my house, or I'm totally okay with that in my house. I'm just understanding your personality. So, does your homeschool reflect your personality? Do you like being involved in a lot of co-ops and extracurricular activities? I do not. I find it completely exhausting, and it's not something that I'm willing to do because it's not part of my personality. Are my kids ever annoyed by this? Absolutely. One of my darlings wanted to be involved in all the extra activities. I told them I was only willing to pay for one and drive for one, but told them that they were more than welcome to pay for as many as they wanted as long as they could get themselves to and from the activities. Needless to say, this child decided not to once it was put on them. So, what I would love for you to do this week is to get really curious about your own personality. Now, you can totally take personality tests and do all those things, but I came up with a few questions that you could ask yourself just as you are understanding you and what works best for you. So, one of the questions I want you to ask is about recharging because when you're with your kids and homeschooling and doing all these awesome things, it's so awesome to have space to recharge and to fill your own bucket and do all those things. So, a great question to ask for you is, do you recharge by being by yourself or with other people? And now, why this is great is because if you are super extroverted and you love a party, but you're recharging, but like you keep being by yourself, that's probably not going to be very recharging for you, and vice versa if you want to be by yourself and you keep being with other people. So, if you recharge by being by yourself, make sure you're scheduling in some alone time. One girlfriend of mine scheduled quiet time in her homeschool so everyone had some time to recharge. I also had a client who had a babysitter come over in the afternoon, and the babysitter might have actually taken her kids out because she just wanted to be in her own house alone for 2 hours. And she didn't even really want to go out and do anything. She just wanted that alone time, and that was enough for her to completely recharge. But maybe you want to recharge by being with other people. So how can you schedule that into your week? Maybe you have a group that you exercise with, or a good friend that you can go out with. Maybe just by being in a co-op is enough for you. So those are some questions to ask. How do I recharge best? Do I recharge best by being with other people or by being with myself? Another question you can ask yourself is, what makes learning fun for me? Because this is going to be an answer that could be all across the board. Maybe learning is really fun for you with hands-on activities, with all in, with messes, with creativity. Maybe that speaks to your heart. Maybe you prefer snuggling close and reading a book together. And so getting very curious of how learning is fun for you. Now, as I was talking about earlier, like our husbands and children and everybody around us have different personalities as well. And I'm not going to get into a whole lot about that, but I really want you to focus on your own personality so that you can understand your strengths and have grace for your weaknesses. Because we could get that into our homeschool, right, and start getting it really complicated, like, well, this is my personality, but this is my child's personality. But right now I want you to think about what works best for you. So thinking of how can learning be fun for me? Because sometimes, even though it's not somebody else's personality, when we are excited about it, our excitement is contagious in our own way. So sometimes that just allows other people to have that space of enjoying the excitement, even though it's not probably their personality of what works best for them. So another question you could wonder is, what kind of atmosphere do you like in the home? Some people like it really quiet. Some people like it loud, like music, all those types of things. So think about what fits best for your personality. If you like it quiet, but live with a lot of other people or just other people who are louder than you, how can you make that happen? Noise canceling headphones? Scheduling time where they're out of the house, where you have some alone time where it's quiet? Maybe you're like me and you actually enjoy the noise. You can get a speaker and have music playing. You can have lots of instruments. It was funny when my daughter moved out, the family that she nannies for is quieter than our family, and that took some adjusting for her to see, like, oh, I am so not used to just being so much more quiet, and there's not music on all the time, and so just like understanding her own personality, and then she gets to decide, what do I like better? So it's been kind of fun for her to see what she prefers. As you understand your personality and what works best for you, it will help you to get to know yourself better and understand you. You can teach and parent from your personality. So it just allows you that space to show up in the way that you want to show up. Like, I want to have a party here. If you hate parties at your house, don't throw them. It's not going to be your most favorite thing. But if you have a kid who likes to party, you can also give them the space of saying, hey, take it to the park. Take it over to this friend's house who's totally okay with it, right? So as you do this and teach from your personality, you can, if you want to, and if you're ready, you can go to the next step, where it's starting to learn your kids' personalities. And like I said, if you have a kid, like you don't like to party, but a kid does, thinking about how could I help them with their personality and with their needs, with also being respectful to my own. For those of you who like Carol Tuttle's system with her numbers, I am a 3. I can be a bit intense with my personality. I like to go a million miles a minute, and I like to be doing things, and I don't like to just sit around. It drives me bonkers. But understanding that not all of my kids are 3s helps me to be less intense with them. So it doesn't mean that I have to change my personality, but I can be understanding that they may not want to get up early and go run 10 miles. That's just not exciting and fun for them. Maybe they are more excited by something fun, a game. Maybe they are more motivated by structure. They like a lot of structure, or maybe they just need some alone time and to figure things out on a much slower pace. This helps me to show up as my amazing self and loving me while being understanding and loving them, even though that we operate a little bit differently. So take some time this week and get curious about your personality. What works best for you? One of the questions I really want you to focus on is which is the best way for you to recharge, whether it's alone or with other people, so that as you are creating this summer, and I love summertime to just make sure that things are working well and that you have a strong foundation in your homeschool, and thinking this is a really good way for me to keep this foundation strong to continue to build an amazing homeschool by also supporting myself and being aware of what I like and don't like in my home and in my homeschool. So parenting and homeschool are just much more enjoyable as you show up as yourself instead of trying to be someone else. So take some time this week, get to know your personality, what helps you, and would be the most true to who you are. Also, don't forget to come and join me in Mama's Members, and I will see you on all of our amazing coaching calls and be there with you this summer as I help you create an amazing homeschool. All right, friends, see you next week.